Hello, everyone, both online and in person. Welcome to our master's program's open house. We're thrilled to be with you here today. And with your permission, just 1 second, I'm going to share my screen now. So I'm thrilled to see you all today. And again, welcome to our open house. And we're, again, just to kind of quickly review what we'll be doing today, we're going to be sharing a lot of information about our program, sharing with you what makes our program special, giving you an opportunity to hear from both staff, faculty, as well as current students in the program as well. As you're seeing, we are, as I mentioned earlier, distributed. So the structure of the session will be as follows. We'll have about a 30 to 40-minute section where we're going to be sharing information with you. You'll hear from me. Again, I'm Ekin Yashin. I'm the director of the program. For those of you who are in the building, I'm just upstairs. I'm going to come down after we share the information in about 40 minutes to say hi to you all and to answer your questions in person. For those of you online too, we're thrilled that you're here. A lot of us are here both in person and online, again, to make this a very informative session. So after the 40-minute program, we're going to move to Q&A to answer all your questions. If you're online, you can share your questions throughout the session on chat. And for those of you who are in person, just note them down and we'll have a dedicated 15-20-minute session at the end where we'll do it in person. We'll separate those sessions so that we can answer your questions in both settings in a meaningful way. If you're online after the Q&A, you will have the option to join breakout groups with our current students. We have 4 of them that joined us today, and I will introduce them when we come to that portion of our class, of our session. And then for those of you who are in person, we're going to have a small reception, and we'll say hi to you in person, and again, continue to connect and answer your questions. You're also joined by the way, in person. I think they welcomed you, our current students who are also in the building, as well as our staff who are there in person as well. So let's start the session and start telling you a little bit about our program. So again, as I mentioned, I'm both the director of this program as well as a faculty member in this program. So I have multiple roles, and I really enjoy being able to engage with our really thoughtful community. And I want to start our session by telling you a little bit about what makes our program different. So I'm sure all of you have kind of reviewed a little bit about our program and I have a sense of the general tenor and what we do, but I want to just get to kind of a little bit about what makes our program special. So our program indeed is a very comprehensive program that will introduce you to a variety of professional fields or allow you to develop your skills in a variety of professional fields from UX and content strategy to storytelling, to understanding emerging technologies, to marketing and branding. We'll talk about our curriculum a little bit by way of our staff in just a minute. But our program is also a hub that really allows us to make sense holistically of our kind of professional landscapes. In fact, I wanted to start by kind of sharing with you something that I share in a class I'm currently teaching. I teach the introductory classes that all our students take when they begin their journey in the program. And these classes are very much about honing in on your leadership skills and making sense of the professional field and developing really key values and sensibilities that will aid you throughout your journeys. And in that class, I recently shared that, this particular research from World Economic Forum, which was done in 2023, and they've there identified the top 10 skills that are relevant across sectors for all jobs. One thing that we commented in my class was how actually more than 8 of those identified top 10 skills are those that don't necessarily relate directly to the execution skills that and also producing of content, but rather there are things that really hone in on leadership. So World Economic Forum identified creative thinking, resilience, motivation, empathy, and active listening, and leadership as some of the core skills that make up today's top skills. I wanted to start with that because what makes our program different is we combine those core professional skills with those top skills that are identified here throughout our curriculum and through many experiences in the program. Our program for the past 20 years have been a responsive hub, not only equipping you with the key skills and key sensibilities that really embed you as a thoughtful UX content strategy, storytelling, communication, or other types of professionals. But our program is also very much aware and preparing you for the next generation practices all around our globe. And that's why we're called communication leadership. We're both looking at those key skills as well as equipping you with leadership sensibilities that will really allow you to make sense of whatever context you enter into after our program. So in that way, I just wanted to highlight a couple of things that we touch upon broadly in our program across our curriculum. And in just a minute, I will turn it over to also our key staff, who will also share with you some of our curriculum and upcoming classes that are really exciting in the program. But in our program, we not only introduce you to key skills like storytelling, video storytelling, audio storytelling, or introduction to user experience, or again, future work practices, etc. We're trying to also collectively make sense of the global moment we find ourselves in. As you are attending this session, our world is trying to make sense of how to return to world in a meaningful way. A lot of companies are trying to build cohesive teams and using communication tools to connect their workforces that are attending work in a hybrid fashion. And they're also trying to figure out what the future of their own organizational cultures will be, which is something we really touch upon in our world. In addition to that, we are at a moment where key technologies are very much emerging, right? 20 years ago when this program started, social media tools like Facebook and Twitter were just new tools that everyone was excited about, and we became more cautious over the years. And we find ourselves right now in a similar place as it comes to artificial intelligence and many other ways in which we engage ourselves in a world and use tools of artificial intelligence as well. We are also in a world, as we always were, where we're executing our practices, no matter what our roles are, in a world driven by key crises, let it be economic, let it be violence, let it be around the nature as well. And this context is constantly impacting how people are able to navigate their practices. So what I'm trying to get at is, in our program, we're trying to not only introduce you to cutting edge skills, but we're also trying to make you think about the world where you'll execute those skills and where you're going to launch and build your careers at. And that world is very complex. So our program is very, very much designed to make sense of that complexity. We do this in an environment that's really innovative. Our master's program has been an award-winning program, and we're also a part of a very innovative and top university, University of Washington. So we do this in a collaborative format and using the resources of our program and the university at large. And we don't only cultivate a sensibility for our students and our network, where they just connect to one another in classes. As I mentioned, since we're trying to make sense and cultivate a community that can respond to the complex world that we find ourselves in, we really take our community seriously. Those of you in person will feel it a little bit tonight, but those of you online will feel it very soon as well. Throughout our program, we combine our classes with a number of beyond the classroom opportunities where our students, alumni, faculty, and staff get together around multiple reasons. We have tons of community events, career events, both in person and online. We use multiple tools like Microsoft Teams to be able to stay connected with our communities. We also have a fantastic opportunity in our program called Communication Leadership Consultancy. It's a student-led and faculty and staff-supported program where our students work with organizations in our region, applying the skills that they learn in our program with real-life situations. So every week, we are coupling our students and combining our students' talents with key organizations in our region. We also have a very robust alumni network and alumni mentorship program as well. I am always in awe of how connected our alumni stay with us. And I always say to those of you for whom maybe this is your first interaction with us, when you become a part of our community, it's a lifelong bond. And I see and connect with and also think with our alumni at multiple intervals. So do our students. And again, very, very briefly, and we can dive deeper into this too. I just don't want you all to think that the program is just about the academics. It is, I would say 80% about the academics and the professional experiences you build, but you also build lifelong bonds. We have students from over 20 different countries who are mid-career, early career, all different levels of experience as well that are a part of our community. We also cultivate multiple opportunities, again, as I mentioned, for them to connect socially or in a professional context as well. We have multiple events. We have an annual showcase. You're seeing pictures from it, where we call it Screen Summit, where students compete with their projects that they completed across the year in our classes and judged by key leaders in our region from top companies in and around Seattle. We also have multiple welcoming events and immersion events that complement your experience, again, in the classes. Just an example of one of those opportunities, next week, I'm going to a talk that's happening in downtown Seattle at Town Hall Seattle. Our program partnered with the university at this event, where one of the top Google's top AI and ethics researchers is coming to Seattle, and we're going to see this event and participate in it with a group of students and myself. And again, we also host authors. We participate in professional events in and around Seattle as well. So opportunities are boundless. This is just a very, again, quick introduction to some of the things that we do. We're going to dive a little bit deeper. So I want to now introduce you to my colleague, our program's associate director in charge of our classes and faculty, Gretchen Ludwig, who will share with you a couple upcoming classes to give you a sense of the kind of overall nature of our classes and to introduce you to our program. Gretchen?
Great, wonderful. Thank you, Akin. It's really exciting to be here. As Akin said, I'm one of the associate directors here, communication leadership. I'm biased, but I feel like I have the best job because I get to work with our faculty on all aspects of our curriculum. And I'd love to talk to you about our classes, but before I do that, I just want to talk to you a little bit about our faculty and what makes them so special. Our faculty, we have many of them. We have about 53 teaching just this year alone, about 70 overall. They are largely working professionals. Many of them run their own companies. They represent senior leadership in some of the top industries in the region, like Amazon, Meta, Google, Microsoft, Kaiser Permanente, REI, King County, top law firms. I mean, the list goes on and on. And, you know, why do they teach in our program? They love to teach because they love teaching and they love our program and they love students and they want to share what they know with future communication leaders. So I work closely with them and I work closely with our staff and our alumni and top industry leaders to constantly change and evolve our curriculum to keep pace with the rapidly changing nature of the communications. So the screen you see here is our 8 specialties. Our courses are grounded in these specialties. They anchor the experience here, giving students an opportunity to shape their path in our program. And our courses cover at least one of these specialties, but some of them cover 2 or more, reflecting the interdisciplinary nature of this field. And it offers you a way to tailor your degree based on the skills industry as seeking. Okay, so now let's talk about our winter offerings. These are just a few. We have about 22 classes this winter. Some of them are new, and here are three of the new classes that we wanted to highlight that we're offering. Communications in AI is super exciting, taught by one of our longest serving faculty in our program, Carol Schuller, who's founding partner in Rumble Marketing. In her company, artificial intelligence is really revolutionizing the way that they do their work. And she wants to share that with her students and create this class to share with communication leaders how communication professionals are using these new tools and strategies. Inclusive design and product equity, very exciting new class taught by a new instructor here, Chang Lu, who is the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Program Manager at Google. She's previously at Meta. The next one, listening skills for UX, is taught by artist in residence Anita Werner Crofts, who is a master teacher, a favorite, an expert listener, an interviewer, and writer, and personal mentor of mine. We're really excited about this new class. And of course, we have our perennial favorites. These are classes that we offer in winter. The first one, Advanced User Design UX Studio, taught by another long-serving instructor, Jason Levine, who is the head of Amazon Web Services and UX and Emergent Technologies. Storytelling with Data is taught by instructor Jeff McGee. He's a journalist who was the New York Times first interactive graphics editors. And in this class, students work with Tableau to produce great stories through data visualizations. And finally, we want to talk about digital media branding and marketing, taught by Paolo Motola, who is actually an alumni of our program. And he is the current director of brand and content marketing at REI Co-op. So that's just a few, but we can talk about more classes that we offer in our breakout sessions. Yes, our class client projects, I mean, a core feature of our work here at CommLead in our courses is that students get the opportunity to work on real projects for real clients, develop them from their portfolio and have stories that they can share with future employers about the work, the impactful work they do here. So these are just three of the ones that we've seen over the last year, and new ones are coming up this winter. In multicultural marketing, a team of students worked with King County Elections on a marketing campaign to encourage higher voter turnout in the East African community. The SEO practicum class happening right now. Students are working with Metamorphic Gear, and that's just one of the companies they're working with to increase direct sales on their website through SEO. And in the UX design practicum class, this is just one of our clients, but we happen to be the client in this case. And you might notice on our website, the chat bot. This was designed by our students to answer questions from prospective students. So I think that's it for my section here.
Thank you.
I'd love to turn this back to Akin, and I look forward to talking with you all in the breakout sessions.
Thank you so much, Gretchen. And again, we have such a rich program and so many different layers of experiences. And we want to, again, connect you tonight with as many perspectives as possible. Gretchen just shared some of our upcoming classes, and we offer so many classes each year. And as Gretchen shared too, some are immediately responding to the changes, as I mentioned at the start of the session, that we're seeing across work contexts all around the globe. And some actually always relate and still are updated, of course, in consideration of where we're at. And I am always in awe of our outstanding faculty and the new initiatives that we come up with in our classes. Now, I want to turn it to where some of you will be at, the position you'll be at next year, hopefully. And I want to kind of connect you briefly now, but of course, both in person by when we're interacting and answering your questions, and also online, you will be able to dive deeper. I just want to acknowledge that you'll have time to have more small group conversations with our students who are participating today. But I just want to introduce you to some of the students who are enrolled in the program. And I want to ask them a couple questions about their experiences and their journey. And I shared with them to answer the questions relatively briefly at this portion of the event. Although, again, they'll be available for breakout rooms and also to connect with you in smaller groups in person to answer your questions further. So I'm going to start by asking our students who are on the call to unmute and introduce themselves, if that's okay. Amanda, maybe we can start with you.
Sure, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda. I am a MCCN student in my second year at CommLead. I'm expecting to graduate in June 2024. And I moved to Seattle a few years ago, worked in healthcare marketing for a few years and specialized in community partnerships and event marketing. That all led me here to CommLead because I really wanted to hone in my skills in communications and marketing. So really happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Nick, maybe you can introduce yourself next.
Hello, I'm Nick. I'm cohort 2022 MCDM track. I am this is my second time at the UW, and I'm glad to be here. I got my undergrad in English literature and language, and then I worked in some publishing houses. Then I spent several years as a product manager in an architectural woodworking firm, and kind of wanted to combine those two aspects of that I really enjoyed, the communication, but also kind of the product management. And this was a great opportunity, and it has been nothing but a privilege to be here.
Thank you so much, Nick. And I just stopped sharing the screen so that you can see our students more directly on the screen as well. Ardra, can you introduce yourself for us?
Hi, everyone. My name is Ardra, and I'm from India. I have a different undergrad background. I studied engineering. And that's a pretty common story in India, but I really liked doing it, but I also thought that I could do better as a writer, and I really liked working with content and startups. So I started building content for different startups, and that led me to think about how I can really be a leader at different levels, because in startups, you sort of are the team, and it helps you learn a lot about the work that you do. And communication was something that I was really interested in, and I wanted to learn more about design and branding, the fundamentals that go into it. So I was looking for a program that was diverse and had multiple backgrounds and multiple specialization options. And this was the best one, and I applied only to this program because I thought that this was the best fit for me, and I'm very happy that I got in, and I'm here now. And yeah, I'm in the MCCL track, so I wanted to do the longer program because we get to take electives from both MCCN and MCDM track. So yeah, my story.
Thank you so much, Ardra. And again, yes, we have 3 tracks, and we'll also mention this again, right? So that you can choose from: Master of Communication and Digital Media, Master of Communication in Communities and Networks, and Master of Communication and Communication Leadership, which Ardra is part of. And our students joining in person as well as online are representing all those different perspectives. Thank you, Ardra. Next up, I have Bella. Bella, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Bella. Can you hear me? Okay. Hi, I'm Bella. I'm from Taiwan, and I'm currently studying MCDM track, so I will be graduating in March. So my story is the main reason I come to CommLead is I wanted to change my career to marketing and communication. And I found our CommLead has like great courses, and I also reach out to a lot of alumni and talk to them, so I get to know more about the program. And I really like the class and the connection networking we have in CommLead, and I think it's a great choice. And so currently I'm a social media manager at CommLead, and so you guys can see me posting on Instagram and Facebook, and I will go to some student events and promote like our event and everything like that. So feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or anywhere. So nice to meet you guys.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask one specific question to each one of you, if that's okay. So I'm going to start, if it's okay with you, Amanda, with you. And I want to ask you, you came to our program with some career background. And can you share with us how the program contributed to your career journey so far?
Yeah, of course. Happy to dive into that. So from the very first day of being a CommLead student, the art of networking has really just been the center of career development here. No matter if you're currently employed, looking for a job, CommLead does a really great job in connecting you with the right people, giving you great advice on how to network if you're new to the area or you're new to this industry. And so it's all done in a very authentic way, which I really enjoyed. So for example, in 501, 501 is the core class that every CommLead student takes. And during this class, we meet experts like Lynn Juve, who is a career coach, and she works in lockstep with CommLead students to ensure that we feel well supported on our career journey. Other awesome experiences are attending events outside of UW. Recently, I attended a fireside chat with Microsoft's Chief Communications Officer, Frank Shaw. That was a really incredible event that I would have never heard of if I wasn't a CommLead student. And so that was really interesting to meet just leaders in the field and to be in the presence of such an incredible company and the employees who work there. It was a really special night. So all those experiences together really make our experience at CommLead quite special.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Yes, you've been doing a lot and experiencing a lot as well. Thank you for sharing your experiences. I want to move to Ardra next. Ardra, I know that I mentioned at the start of the program that our program, of course, has classes, but we also engage in a variety of different projects within and beyond the classes. So I wanted to ask you about some interesting projects that you've been involved in either or context.
It's hard to pick. I think I've tried to dabble with the variety that's available here. I was part of consultancy projects with CommLead, and those were really helpful because they helped me get some client experience firsthand. So I worked with the Center for an Informed Public, which is a research department at the UW. And my work involved learning and researching on misinformation campaigns that's being debunked by the department and how they work around, especially since AI has come up, how misinformation has been a huge concern and how we can try to address that. And I had to work with the communications manager of the department, and he really helped me understand the world and what was important and how we could highlight that on the website and different things like that. And there was also a web development project that we got to do. I got to do it with a couple of my peers from the program. I was the content writer for the website for a sub-project of the department. And that was also an interesting experience because there's a lot of community learning that we had to do about librarians and rural educators within the Washington area. And that was really interesting because politics and a lot of community and cultural differences came into the fore, and we got to really learn about people here. And apart from that, I've had various projects and classes. I took content marketing with Misty Weaver, and in that class, we had to work on building a content marketing strategy for CommLead as our client. And I thought that was very effective because we already knew the client very well, and that helped us focus on ideas and coming up with a solid plan. And I also had the opportunity to do a study abroad in Rome. And from that experience, I built a writing project that I'm really happy about. Like there was a lot of poetry and essay writing. Besides that, I also took up a long form writing class with Anita Crofts. And as Gretchen mentioned, she's amazing. I recommend the class to everybody. I got to work on a long form essay, and I also built a collection of the essays from the class for our website. It's on the website. It's called Mindshift. It's a nice magazine, and we think that we will be making more editions of that. And to conclude, I think that currently I'm working on a project with Anita as an independent study. And an independent study is very different from any of the classes that we take because it's entirely up to us to design how we go about it and what we want to do. So that's a great, it's a tough experience because you're really left to your own devices. But Anita is a great guide, and I'm able to really hone in on what I want to do. What's the story as Sandy Siofi says, that she's a brilliant professor as well. So yeah, I've had great learning experiences so far.
Thank you so much, Audra. And again, I want to encourage you all to follow up with these insightful comments that our students are sharing by way of your questions. If you're in the room, again, take note of them. But if you're online, you can share them in the chat. I'm joined by today both students and number of staff that are online ready to answer your questions. And those of you who are online, you can start sharing your questions in the chat anytime, and we'll come to them in just a few minutes when we transition to Q&A. So Audra, you shared a lot of deep experiences, and I just want to transition to also and kind of add another layer to it in our program. As I mentioned too, you'll get to work with a number of real-life organizations in your classes, build a number of different items for your portfolios, engage with professionals within and beyond the classes. Bella, you started mentioning this a little bit at the start of our conversation too, but we'll also have a number of opportunities within the program when you're a student to apply what you learn to work with the program as well. So you mentioned that you're a social media manager. Can you share with us how long have you been doing this and what has been this experience like?
Yes, I'm happy to share that. So I've been working with Comly for like 6 months or a little bit more. So basically I use my what I learned in class, for example, foundation of video storytelling. We learn how to film and then do some editing ourselves. And in this job, I can do some content creation. So as you can see on our Instagram and Facebook, we have a lot of videos like feature student highlights, and we took that all by ourselves. And I do the editing and managing and stuff. And so that is a great opportunity. Like for me, I can put these creation like to my portfolio, like is this a project, so which is pretty nice. And I got to work with a lot of student coordinator, like with events and a lot of promotion and engagement, and I got to know a lot of people by this opportunity. And some people I don't even talk in class, but because of this event or this content creation thing, I got to like learn about their story, and that is like a really interesting journey. So yeah, I think that's basically what I do, and I got to apply a lot of things that I learned in class in this job. So it's been really good. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bella. And you can see actually stories of our students and they're kind of how we're sharing briefly here. But if you want to continue exploring that, I invite you all both in person and online to check out our both Instagram and LinkedIn accounts. But on Instagram in particular, the stories, the video stories that Bella has shared is shared with you all, where you can see different student perspectives and their highlights. And Bella has been doing a very good job of sharing and applying what she learns through this job with our program as well. Thank you, Bella. Last but not least, Nick, I want to also engage you, and I want to ask you a more broad question. Again, these questions are things, those of you who are in person, again, we're going to join you and interact with you in person. I will as well in just a few minutes, but also in both platforms, online and in person, you can build on these questions as you interact with our students, faculty, and staff. So Nick, I just want to ask you a broader question. So far, you've been taking classes, doing different things, engaging in events and engaging in different projects. What would you say has been a highlight for you in the program?
Yeah, thanks, Akin. That's a really tough question, and I've kind of thought about it throughout the day of how to answer it. And so I'll kind of like interpret it in a way has been really what I've really taken value out of, and what has been a highlight has been kind of building on interests and skills that I had before, or things that I was curious about, and taking them into the context of each course as I go, and putting them into the context of where I can develop it into a new platform, a newer idea, or push myself into doing it differently. And for instance, like last year, I took a law and ethics course in big data, and at that time AI was kind of just popping up, and I was like, okay, I'm interested about that. How can I go forward for this and learn more about it? And then the next quarter I took a course called community data science, where I was able to kind of look at the nitty-gritty aspects of taking data and building upon that knowledge, and also using things that I was also interested in and taking it to this new platform. And so in that data science course, I ended up just getting data out of the Spotify's API. I love music and was very kind of interested in what kind of interesting story I could get by looking at raw data from Spotify. And that was a really great project that really challenged me and made me need to build new skills and new understandings, but also on a foundation of something that I could get excited about, be interested, and kind of grow on that. And then this current quarter, I'm taking a marketing and strategy course, and I've had this opportunity to work with a real client, and has a little startup of building a new technology of musical instruments, and something I'm interested about, but I can look at it in a whole different perspective of marketing and strategy. And I get to engage directly with the leader of this startup. And it's just taking things that I have a foundation of, I have an understanding of, and then putting it in a place where I can push myself, really get curious, learn new skills, and then come through the course with, the highest level of success that I can imagine. And that has just been a great opportunity through my entire experience here. So that's the highlight.
Well, that's a very comprehensive highlight. Thank you so much, Nick. And again, I'm, for purposes of our time, I just want to dedicate a lot of time to your questions in person as well as online as well. I would also encourage you all to ask all of our students that you interact with today why they chose our program. Again, in the breakout rooms, you will get to really talk to them in a smaller group, so you'll get student to student perspective. Likewise, in person, you'll also get to have a lot of conversations too. So I hope that you can build on this early conversation and further inquire about student experiences, what they're learning, how it's applicable to their careers, as well as opportunities within and beyond the program and in our very rich and global university as well. So with that, I'm going to share the screen too, and we'll before we transition to questions, I want our Assistant Director of Academic Services to Heather Werkel to kind of give us a review of the process. And again, at this time too, I welcome you all to share your questions in the chat, and in person, we're just about to transition and we'll do it in a more conversational style there, likewise here as well. But Heather, can you tell us what's coming next in terms of steps for those who are interested in the program?
Yeah, I was wondering if we could start. Hello, everyone. First, nice to see you all here tonight. Thanks for going back that one slide, because I saw a question came up about what I was just about to talk about. So as Akin said, I'm Heather Werkel. I'm the Assistant Director of Academic Services. So I am your academic advisor while you're in the program. And I also answer all questions about our admissions process from prospective students. And one of the big questions that does come up that I see came up in our chat already is about our 3 degree tracks and how do you choose between them? What's the difference between these tracks? So we have on this slide here just a brief description of each one of our 3 degree options. The Communication Leadership 60 credit degree, Communities and Networks and Digital Media 45 credit degrees. So I encourage you to take a look at those. And if you're on the recording after this, you can read those more in depth. But all 3 of our degrees do qualify for STEM OPT. So for international students, this is a designation that allows you to get up to 3 years of work authorization in the United States after you graduate. So that's a great advantage for students that are coming here on an F1 visa. The 60 credit MCCL degrees, our communication leadership degree, typically takes about 2 years for full-time students to complete. So it is our longer degree, as Ardra mentioned earlier, gives you more time in the program and the opportunity to take classes across the full curriculum. For students that want to focus in one of the areas, either communities and networks or digital media, the 45 credit degrees tend to take about 15 months. So about 5 quarters total. A couple of people mentioned they're going to be graduating in March. So that's pretty common for students starting in fall. They graduate in March of their second year, so winter quarter of their second year, doing those degrees. And then part-time students tend to finish in about 2.5 to 3 years. So just an overview of those degree options, and you can read more on our website on that programs page. Now, as far as applying for admission, you all that are joining us tonight are planning well in advance. So well done. Good idea to start this process early. Our first deadline for admission is February 1st. And so you've got plenty of time left to prepare for that. That's our priority application deadline. And I do want to point out that applications are not reviewed until after the deadline. So there's no advantage to submitting early. We want you to take your time to craft a really strong competitive application. This is a competitive program, so we admit around a third of students who apply, sometimes less depending on how many people apply. So you do want to take the time to make sure you craft a really thoughtful, strong application. So don't worry about submitting it early. But you do want to make sure you designate your recommenders and order any official test scores that might be needed at least 2 weeks before that deadline. So no later than January 15th, because you need time for those to come in. Test scores tend to take 2 weeks or more to arrive and be matched to applications. And then recommenders, just want to make sure you give them time to complete those recommendations before the deadline. We will let everyone know by April 1st, whether you have been admitted, denied, or waitlisted if you apply in that priority round. And then you will have 2 weeks after that until April 15th to accept or decline the offer. So a final note related to those deadlines is that if you are going to be looking for funding for the program, you'll want to actually apply for funding before you apply to the program. I know it seems backwards, but UW's FAFSA filing deadline, their priority deadline, I should say, is January 15th. So those applying for financial aid need to submit that by January 15th before you're actually applying for the program. And that will allow you to get your funding options determined before you might get an offer, so that you already know, how you're going to fund the program before you find out whether you got in, so you can decide really quickly during that 2 weeks that we give you there. So with that, I think I'll turn it back to Akin, and we are going to move to our Q&A part.
Yes, so for the Q&A part, again, as I mentioned, I want to make sure that all your questions are addressed. For those of you who are online, I am now going to turn it over to Gretchen Ludwig, who's the, again, Associate Director of our program in charge of our classes and faculty, and Jazz Espiritu, who's both head of our program affairs and also oversees all our community initiatives. So all those types of cool events when you start and throughout your journey, and also types of holistic support and campus experiences too, Jazz can speak to. We will also, I will ask Gretchen and Jazz to also direct questions to students, Ardra and Amanda and Bella and Nick, as well as also communication leadership account is led by our student Isaac too. I want to acknowledge him here too. Isaac is our multimedia tutor. In that role, he's overseeing a lot of our events and video production endeavors and video tutoring for our students as well. Another student of our program who's also collaborating with the program in an employee basis. So great to have you here as well. So I'll turn it over on the online side to Gretchen and Jazz to moderate the Q&A. Me and Heather at this point will leave the meeting, but not, we're here for your questions anytime. So please direct your questions after this session to us as well. But those of you who are online, after the Q&A, you'll also have an opportunity to, again, just to mention, join small groups with our students. So you'll still have about 45 minutes on the online session. And again, in person too, we're going to join you now. Alex, if you want to start moderating the questions there, I'm literally right upstairs, so is Heather. So we'll join there in just a minute. So great to see you all. And I'm going to turn it over to Jazz and Gretchen right now to moderate.
Great. Hi, everybody. So yeah, I'm not quite sure how we're going to lead this section, but I think perhaps we should start with the questions from our chat. And if people want to keep adding to the chat, they can, and we can try to answer, in the order received between me and Jazz and maybe the students in the room answering the questions. Does that sound like a good plan? So let's start with the first one that I saw about students who have done this program while working full-time or even part-time. How would you describe the experience? Is it manageable? Do we have any students in the room who are currently working full-time or part-time?
I did last year.
Mm-hmm. So Nick, yeah.
I can say that working full-time and trying to do the program full-time is incredibly difficult. And I really would not recommend it. It was very exhausting by the end of the year. So whatever that is, navigate working part-time and being a full-time student, or part-time work and full-time student, but don't try to do both. And currently right now I'm just focusing on being a full-time student. So it's too difficult to do both. And that's all I can say on that.
That's what I've heard as well. How about others? Are you working part-time and doing a full-time load?
Hi everyone. When I started last year, I was working full-time and school part-time. That's an option that some of us take. If you start part-time and remain part-time throughout your time at CommLead, you're going to graduate, I think, around 3 years. But later on, I ended up leaving my job and now I'm full-time a student, and I was also working part-time last quarter. You know, it just takes a lot of time management, to be honest, but I totally agree with Nick. Either the full-time work, part-time school, or part-time work, full-time school, that seems to be the sweet spot. And I would say just word of caution, I guess, like don't be I guess don't be too misled by having only 2 classes, because some of our classes are 5 credits, but those classes can be pretty extensive, and it contains a lot of work and requires a lot of of your time outside of class as well. And so it's definitely all beneficial for your career long term. So I think it's totally worth the time to just invest in school while you're in it.
Thank you. Libby, did we answer your question, or do you have a follow-up? Is it good? Okay, let's move on. Next one. This one is from Chonipa from Thailand. What are the skills that the prospective students should have? Should we obtain a certain level of digital marketing or video editing skills beforehand? Oh, I could quickly answer that. No, you don't need any skills. We really look holistically at students who enter our program. Some of them do come in with a lot of skills. Some people that come in with none of these skills, and it really is about what they want to do with this degree and what they want to learn in this degree. We've seen students come in with no skills, and they're now video professionals because they learned them here. So we really look holistically. We have students from so many different backgrounds and so many different majors and different times in their career journey entering the program. Okay, I'll move on. And if we don't answer the question completely, you can just keep adding in the chat, or you can speak up as well. Jazz, do you want to take some of these other ones?
Yeah, not a problem. Thank you, Gretchen. Let's take a look here at Monica from Taiwan. I would like to know, is there anything you are looking for as a student? So, which is kind of already answered from that last question. So Gretchen, I'm actually just going to add a little bit about what you were talking about here. Yes, it's a bit of a holistic process when we're looking at applications and we're looking at folks who are interested in the program. But for folks, if you haven't already taken a look at what that application looks like, there is a video aspect to it, a 1-minute video that has to be completely unedited and uncut. And the idea behind that is that ultimately we want to see how you are as a storyteller. Therein lies, again, that holistic nature of the program and our approach and our value in that, is that whatever skills you come in with, do you have a story that you want to tell? And how can CommLead help you tell that story in the most impactful and engaging way, utilizing the different kinds of courses that we have and the different kinds of skills that we can teach you through our curriculum? So I would say that's what we're looking for. We're looking for folks who want to learn these skills, yes, but also mainly it's because there's a value to it for themselves and for the stories that they want to share. So I'll add that to that question, or to that answer, in terms of what you were looking for, Monica.
Important. Thank you.
Yeah. I can keep going and see where I stop. So
keep going, Jazz. You're really good at this. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. So Noah here has, for students who have graduated from the digital media focus, what are some of the career paths post-graduation for those students? Gretchen, do you have an answer for that? And maybe some of our current students also have an answer for that.
Yeah, we could pass on our current students, but I mean, so many different paths pathways. And sometimes they'll come in with a marketing focus, but then they'll pivot in the program and they'll want to go into a user experience type of role or a product marketing kind of role, or they'll go into PR or executive communications, or there's so many ways they can take their skills and bring them into different contexts. A lot of times our students come in really focused on tech, but what they learn in this program that is some of these roles exist in different industries outside of tech, that, you know, they need these roles. User experience roles are needed in healthcare, and they're needed in nonprofits and other in other industries. But yeah, it's they're all over the place. Amanda, you were just talking about the networking that you're doing, a lot of the networking through the program. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think you covered a lot of it. I guess also some of the more social aspects of our program are also really great and also serve as a networking platform as well. Some that come to mind are First Fridays, where the program invites, I believe, employers from our program, sorry, not our program, from our local area that come and talk to the students. And we also have like various social events as well for students to connect with each other from all cohorts, which is really exciting and something that I personally really enjoy from our program, is to talk to folks that have come before us and also new students from cohort 23 and also beyond, including some of you. So yeah, it's a pretty diverse group with a lot of great experiences.
And I'll jump right back in here for you, Noah, because here is a website, a page from our website on career directions. And you'll see there it has the top 3 job roles for MCDM graduates, so the digital media graduates. And you're going to see things around like marketing and advertising, but you'll see like a good chunk, about like a fifth of our MCDM graduates are in the user experience and content strategy, UX, UI work. So I mentioned that because I know that Hannah has the next question about how qualified are graduates for careers in data analysis, AI, or UX and UI. What I can share is that they're highly qualified for that. We have classes around AI. We're continuously working through we're adding more and more courses based on like what is happening in current events too. So when I started this job about 4 years ago, AI wasn't the conversation. We were talking about VR. That was the thing. And now we are seeing more and more of these courses around AI that we're building together, which is pretty incredible. And I also think it speaks to a lot of like CommLead staying on top of what's happening in the field. Anything else to add from Gretchen or any of our current students about digital media track / UX UI and like qualifications for that after your time in CommLead?
I have something to add, but if the students have something to add, I'd like them to go first. Ardra? Yeah.
I think that it's also about how we use the classes. So far, that's been my experience. We get to choose what kind of projects we take up in most of the classes. I mean, we are told what to do in terms of the topic and the module at hand, but then you get to choose how deep you go into it and what you do about it. So there are like levels that you can get to based on your own sort of commitment. And that is part of why Nick and Amanda are talking about why you shouldn't try to work full-time and also study full-time, because you might not be able to give your fullest. And yeah, I think that's the part.
Thank you. That's really important. That's somewhat similar to what I was going to add with this, where I feel about our classes. A lot of times our students feel like the classes are the thing that will make them qualified, right? But our classes aren't really the destination. Our classes are the vehicle, you know, and it's about how you drive that vehicle. There are instructors that you're going to meet and you're going to build professional relationships with them. Oh, their instructors bring incredible guest speakers to our classes, and some of our guest speakers, just last night, Nick, I remember in our class, like one of the guest speakers in the class was actually the client that you're working for his startup, you know, company. That was super exciting. So it's really about how you engage, how you take advantage of the networking opportunities. These help open the door for you, and then you need to drive through the door, you know, to these opportunities. So
I'll even second that, Gretchen, because I think like the art of discovery has been like the best part of this entire experience for me. I came in here looking for a career transition and to kind of connect the dots of some things that I was good at, things that I was interested in. And just like what we were talking about last night, taking a marketing course for the first time, had no interest in it specifically. I didn't come into the program looking for marketing, and I've really enjoyed it. And it's making me want to take more courses in it, learn more about this strategy and what are the opportunities and what is the insides and the outsides of this industry. And that's part of the discovery. And every quarter, I feel like I get closer to what I hope is the end goal, which is a purpose-driven career opportunity. So that's how I would encourage any student to like begin it as a journey rather than a specific thing in mind.
All right, great. So we'll thank you all for sharing some really great insight there, especially from our students as well. So let's move on, see what else we got for you all here. And I am seeing a lot of thank yous. You're welcome. We appreciate that. And then let's see, Kay here has, do all students receive teaching assistantships or other types of guaranteed funding? Anyone want to tackle that one?
I mean, I could give the overall thing and then we can talk about, so because we're a fee-based program, we don't offer scholarships per se. They're sort of like not allowed in our program, but every year we add more and more paid opportunities within the CommLead, whether it's the consultancy or within communication leadership. So there are ways to apply for some of these roles to help CommLead specifically, but also be part of our consultancy and actually be paid to work on projects for clients that come to CommLead to be assisted with our master's students. And some of you have had some of these roles too. Do you want to talk about that? Or maybe you already did. You talked about it a lot at our opening, but really that's the answer. We don't hire teaching assistants, or we have scholarships, but we do have paid roles within CommLead.
I can add if you wanted me to. Yeah, like Gretchen mentioned, there's options to get paid through consultancy positions. But there are also like a lot of roles across the university. It takes a lot of work to look for them and find them and apply. But CommLead also sends us newsletters every week with an assortment of all of the roles that are open in the university and outside for internships and part-time and full-time positions. So those are avenues that can help you. And scholarships are possible from different departments for a set of things that you do. So it's all there, but it's up to you to look for them. It's a little bit of a task, but it's possible. Yeah.
All right, thank you all. Let's move on with, could you share what your days are like as students and also what it's like to live in Seattle? So that's not me or you, Gretchen, because we're not students. So any of our students, tell us a little bit more about what it's like. Tell us about your day and also what it's like to be here in Seattle.
I can get started. This past weekend, I was actually in LA watching the UW USC game. Go Dogs. We won. It was great. So that was very school spirited. Came home on Monday night, immediately dove right back into homework. So Tuesday, most of the day was meeting with my team. I have a big group project. Ardra and I are actually in the same class, so she knows. And so we, meet as a team, do a lot of individual work. I took a break, went on a walk. It's beautiful out right now, and the fall colors are really glorious. And at 6 p.m., I packed up my dinner and went to class. At school. It's always a really fun experience. I'm actually in the future of marketing right now, where we are learning about new marketing tactics such as big data analytics, AI, AR, VR, all of that. And so my class ended at 9:50 and it felt like 10:50 because of daylight savings, but we all hung out and did it. And it's always just such an amazing experience. So that's I feel like a pretty typical day for me. As to what it's like to live in Seattle, I've lived here for about 5 years now. I really enjoy it. I love to get outdoors. I love hiking, backpacking, camping. So really try to, you know, get out in nature a lot. There's a lot of really cute coffee shops around us in UW. Just lots to do and see and eat. So always a highlight.
Yeah, I agree with the eating part. I really like, I'm not much of a hiker, but I really like to discover little places to eat various cuisines in. And I think Seattle is a pretty diverse hub for food. So you get a lot of variety. And I'm assuming the person who asked the question is international. So to speak about the change, I don't know what the weather is like back home for you. I come from a very sunny city, so this was a bit of a difficult adjustment. There's not much sun here in the winter, but the summer is equally incredible because there's the sun is out till 10 p.m. So that's a big change when you come from closer to the equator. And I think there's a lot of like things for you to do if you find the right kind of groups. And UW has a lot of activities happening all the time, and apart from what ComLead does. So it's up to you to like find groups, and you can just sign up for anything and just go have conversations. The other week I was at a tarot workshop led by the library. So, I mean, there's just a variety of things that can happen around here. So it's up to you to find your groups. And there's also FIUTS, the Foundation for International Understanding Through Students, a nonprofit that helps people connect with each other, especially international students. So that's a great forum for you to find new things to do around your culture, and meeting people around here, learning new languages, and a lot of those things.
All right, great. Thank you all for some great insight in terms of Seattle. I love Seattle. I've been here for many years now, so it's a great city. And you learn to love the rain and the gray in the sky because it just makes the summers just more, you appreciate it a lot more. But then when it comes back for that fall, oh, getting that fall jacket out in your closet, that's nice. So, but that's just me. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question here. For international students, are there any chances in the first year to intern on campus? So in terms of internships, and my knowledge on this is admittedly limited, okay? But if you are on an F1 visa here on at ComLead, you have to complete 3 full-time quarters as a grad student before you can apply for internships and work authorization for CPT work authorization. So that means if you are starting in autumn, where most of our students start as autumn, and you take full-time classes, you won't be eligible for internships until after June. So after that first academic year. That's my understanding of it. And again, this is on the F1 visa, so I'm not sure if there's any kind of other regulations for different kinds of visas, and if that's the case. But if any of our students would like to chime in on that, feel free to.
I also put the link in there for the International Student Services link, and that's a link that Heather will direct our students to. And we also have an International Students Guide that was created by a student in our program too, that has a lot of this really helpful information there. I don't know if we have that link here, Jazz, but maybe we can find it.
Yeah, I'm sure we can find it and we'll put it up in the chat. But to Gretchen's point, ISS is an incredible resource. They have really great videos. They do info sessions as well, similar to this, to get all your questions answered in terms of like what you're looking for, whether that's CPT, OPT, work authorization, that kind of stuff. So we recommend definitely connecting with them if you are looking to kind of find out what your resources are as an international student. All right. Thank you for that question. Let me see. Where am I now? Could you give some information about student life at the campus? Are there dormitories or housing options at the campus area? Yes, there actually is graduate housing specifically for that are like apartments, and they can even be like family apartments as well too, depending on like who's here and who you're bringing with you, if that's the case. So I'm going to go ahead and put a link up to Housing and Food Services, which is the department here at the University of Washington. And this link is specifically about graduate student apartments. So I think a number of our students actually utilize these and probably live on campus as well. Any of you live on campus? Want to speak to like what it's like living on campus?
I didn't live on campus, but I think I can talk a little bit about it. I have a lot of friends who live on campus, so they basically live like 4B, 2B, and So you share kitchens with 4 people, and you got your own bedroom, and you share a bathroom with 1 person. So it's pretty convenient, and it's located around campus. It's like a 10-15 minute walk to campus, so it's not too bad. And it's the food court is also nearby, so it's pretty convenient. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a load of actually different kinds of graduate housing that you'll see on that link that I just shared. Some of them are actually right on campus, and then some of them are just a few blocks away in different areas. If you're looking to kind of be a little bit further along, I just happen to know the person who is in charge of graduate housing in HFS. I married her, so we know a little bit about what's happening in graduate housing and in terms of the support that they provide you as well. So, yeah. Let's keep it going here. Gretchen, I think this one's for you. Is there a difference in admission difficulty between MCDM and MCCN?
There is not. Nope. It's the same. It's the same application process. It's the same question you'll answer. It's the same video you will offer. It's just that you you kind of determine ahead of time what track you want, what kind of program or experience that you want. And also keep in mind that once you're in the program, you can have a chance to switch once. You can switch from MCDM to MCCN. You can switch from MCCN to MCDM. You can switch to MCCL. And a lot of our students take that option. They'll come here. I've seen this happen where they come here as MCDM and they realize, you know what, I really like these classes better. They're more me. I see myself, I identify with the subject matter, I identify with the work that they do, the instructors, and I feel like these are the kind of courses for me. Our MCCN courses tend to be more focused on, leadership and more like heavily on the people skills, the community skills that we bring. We notice that some of our mid-career students gravitate that more often. But as Heather said, they're all STEM degrees. A lot of our students don't think that that's true, but they are. You still have the same privileges that come with all the degrees. But I think it's about, take a look at our website and look at the way it's described and kind of think, which one is more me, or this one? And then keep in mind, you can switch.
And on top of that too, Gretchen is absolutely right. Check out our website and take a look at the degree tracks and what is kind of like calling to you more. But another thing too, a little tidbit from us here, go ahead and check out the classes that are being offered as well. So on the website, we do have a page where we show what is being offered right now in this current quarter. And then sometimes the next one, or even like from previous quarters as well, it's kind of archived there. Take a look at which ones say that they're MCDM electives, MCCN electives, read the course descriptions, take a look to see which ones are like really calling to you, because that's probably where you're going to fit the most in terms of your work here in CommLead. Yeah.
That's great advice, Jazz.
Thank you, Gretchen. I did it. All right. This is a fun question. What kind of students do MCCN and MCDM like, respectively? I am seeing this question as like, if we see each of these degree tracks, what are the kind of students are like gravitating towards that track? Gretchen, is that like how you're reading it too, or?
I think so. And we have representatives from all the tracks here, so I think we should go to the students on this one. Maybe let's start with the MCCN. What flavor are we talking about here? What kind of student? What are the kinds of projects and things that you're drawn to, or what makes you like this track in particular?
Yeah, happy to talk about it. I am in the communities and networks track, and it's, as we've talked about before in this conversation, it's more geared towards community and nonprofit storytelling and communications and leadership in that field. So personally, I really love it. I come from a nonprofit background. I have been working in healthcare and education for several years now, and I have very deep passions in these fields and to give back to the community. And so a lot of the classes that I have taken are specific to MCCN and are just very, very rich in content, and just in the instruction was incredible. A couple of courses really stand out to me. Last winter, I took Communications for Advocacy, And that is an incredible course if you want to learn about how like modern American politics works on various levels, how advocacy fits in to nonprofit communications, and how a lot of folks who end up in nonprofits, big and small, have to work with local legislators and also on federal level as well. Just understanding the relationships and the dynamics during that class was really helpful. Another one that stands out to me is multicultural marketing. I know we talked about that earlier in the slides with Akin. Multicultural marketing is taught by a fantastic instructor, Hannah Park, and she is so incredible. She is a Korean Latina, and her just incredible background and this awesome course material, you learn a lot about how to approach this new age marketing with multicultural lens, but really it's not new age at all. It really should be embedded into normal marketing. And so it's all very fascinating. It really has challenged me to look at marketing and communications in a different way, in ways that my undergraduate experience did not give me, and has also really given me more resources. And even through course readings and lectures, I've learned a lot that I haven't really gotten to, haven't really been exposed to in my job. So these, just a few of these courses in the MCCN track has really painted a richer photo for me in the long term. So I'm a huge fan of MCCN. A lot of the fellow students in my track are also really passionate about creating positive social impact. So if that sounds like it's ideal for you, talk to me. Very happy to answer any more of your questions.
Thank you. Should we talk about the other tracks as well? Maybe we should do that. So MCCL, so what is attractive to you about this degree?
So I started out knowing that I wanted to do the full 2-year program. So this is also my first master's. A lot of people who come here also do this as their second master's, which in which case I understand wanting to take a shorter program. But I wanted to go the whole 2 years so that I can really immerse myself in this experience. I'm here for this reason. And I also thought that both the tracks have interesting courses that I like, and I did not want to miss out on them, a little greedy like that. And I think that it's been effective. It doesn't stop me from thinking about, I don't have to do a lot of planning in terms of whether I will be able to take this course at all in the first place. So I'm open to take any of the courses that are available on the chart, and there's a big variety, and it takes a bit of thinking and planning for you to know which ones you want to take in which quarter. So like Jazz mentioned, I went through the classes page before I applied. I really was very thorough. I asked Heather a lot of questions, and I think that really helped me understand what goes on inside the classroom. And you're also welcome to mail professors that you like and whosever courses stand out to you, so that you can understand those courses specifically. And people here come to specialize for UX, and my focus has been writing and storytelling right from the beginning, but I've also tried to make it as broad as possible to learn a little bit of everything that the course offers, so that I have that experience. Because when you work in a team, you have to work with people that are outside of your skill sets, and how to talk to them and like better understand their worlds is very useful. So I think that that's been my reason for choosing MCCL. And I'm also into like working with nonprofit and volunteering, like, as Amanda mentioned. And given that we have, I have a bigger opportunity in terms of choosing courses, I've been able to keep my options open, essentially. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And the one thing I did want to mention is that, whether you're in one degree or the other, there's a lot of opportunity to take classes in the other track, not just confined to your own track. And the other thing to mention is that a number of our courses are called track neutral, which means there's something about that course that incorporates MCCL MCDM and MCCN. So so there's a lot, even though you have this track, you are getting a diverse experience in our program. It's really about you, and there's a lot of flexibility that you have into the courses that you choose. But thank you. And MCDM, who wants to take that?
I can start it off.
Okay.
I think it's really important to highlight being able to kind of take that track neutral, and you can even take a course from MCCN as well. And that's kind of where I started. Is in my first quarter, I kind of crossed over. I had declared MCDM, but I started by taking this course called Building Teams and Community, and it kind of was really like a good foundation for me to start this whole process of how to like develop communication skills, how to work with other people on a different level. The reason I chose MC, and also there's 501 and 502, the two required courses that you're gonna have to take in the first year, are really like a mixture of both, of building community, networking, connecting, looking at technology, looking at like these very aspects. So those are really good. Like if you're on the fence, but you pick one and you might want to change it, you're going to get a really good understanding of that in those first year with those two required courses. For me, the MCDM, I came in not sure where I would want to go with it, but knew that I was really passionate about writing, storytelling, and wanted to see what kind of hard skills I could develop. And for me, that was a big importance of like, what are these hard skills that I can get to have that self-discovery and have that active discovery of what kind of career I want to build. Fortunately, I've been building a lot of soft skills at the same time of like networking and connecting and building on this community, being a part of this community. It's why I'm here right now, is because it's such a great opportunity. So no matter what you're going to do, there's going to be a taste of each one, and it's kind of where you want to prioritize. If you're really into the UX, the UI aspect of it, the further you go, the deeper it's going to get for you. And that's great. I think a lot of people do that. That hasn't necessarily been my journey, but I've really wanted to kind of develop technical skills, and there's been like endless opportunity of that. That's been a great challenge.
So yeah, I can speak a little bit about my experience. So I came to MCDM because I wanted to focus more on marketing field, and that's what I wanted to pursue for my career. And then I found out there's so many media platforms that we can use and we can learn, and we can use these opportunities to, connect with each other. And so I think whether you're on MCDM or MCCN, it's like we're all on the same boat, and then we can learn from each other. So I think it's just a great opportunity to take different classes, try it out. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that we're coming to an end. I mean, I want to thank our students in particular who came and offered their experiences and their advice and themselves to our students, Ardra, Amanda, and Bella and Nick, and also Isaac. Thank you so much again for helping to facilitate this whole experience. So yes, reach out in every way that we provided throughout this session, and I wish you all best of luck in your graduate school application journey, and perhaps we'll see you again here in Copley.